Hello, my loves, and welcome to this week's topic on people-pleasing in partnerships. We are focusing right now in this video on guidance from the universe for what we need to know about people-pleasing in partnerships and hopefully what we can do to kind of grow beyond some of the classic behaviors and beliefs that we have that make us show up in people-pleasing ways. The origins of people-pleasing are typically family trauma. Typically, there was somebody in your world, in your life, who made you feel like you weren't enough or that you couldn't quite do enough to get the love that you are seeking. And for that reason, you learned to accept their volatility and try to please them and create a safe space for yourself by making sure that you never caused the other person to become an unsafe person around you. There's so much patterning that happens with people pleasing, and I talk about that in the poll for this week. So if you haven't done the Tuesday poll yet, go ahead and do that. If you're watching this on YouTube, my Patreon is filled with topic discussions every week, coloring page and card reading, and journaling prompt resources for you to follow up on these topics, in addition to intention setting at the end of the week. So if you haven't joined patreon.com/vibrantcoven. If you haven't joined the coven, go and check it out. It's $5 a month. And I think for $5 a month, even if you only tune into one topic and that's what you really resonate with, you get so much out of just 1 week. And I'm saying this because there's literally something for every single day of the week. So go and check that out if you haven't already. But the poll in there is talking about the ways that you have seen yourself show up in people pleasing, whether it's at work or in friendships or in romantic or sexual relationships and partnerships. I've got this very, very cute French bulldog that I am watching this week, and I'm so lucky to have her little piggy sounds just hanging out in the house. So if you haven't checked out that poll yet, be sure to go and do so that you can develop a little bit of an awareness around how people pleasing has really affected you. I think sometimes when we know that we are a certain way, we may not understand the full extent of it, and that's what the Tuesday polls are for. Monday we discussed the topic a little bit and our initial associations, but Tuesday I like to take it a little step further so that you can really understand the extent to which your beliefs and your behaviors have received that ripple effect of a certain value or a certain way of being, like people pleasing. So right now we're going to focus on guidance from the universe on people pleasing in partnerships. The reason that I wanted to get into this topic, I talk about this a little bit on Monday's post, but just to reiterate, I have been seeing in this romantic relationship that I'm in my relationship with my primary partner, who is also my nesting partner, my romantic partner, my sexual partner, my best friend. I am seeing how some of the things that I was afraid would happen if I got into a romantic relationship again, the things that made me feel like maybe this is why I'm not ready, because I am still people pleasing, because I'm still trying to heal other people and fix them. Those things I've worked on before getting into this relationship, and now that I'm in it, I will get frustrated by something. I will get frustrated by him not feeling the same way as I do about certain things, and feeling like I want somebody to be more excited for what we're doing, or more of something, which is essentially to say I am not responding well to their boundaries and their needs. And instead of acknowledging we're different people and we respond differently to things, I have been taking it a little personally and recognizing that I can't see a way to fix this. And those words help me to come back to myself and to recognize that I don't have to fix him. We didn't get into a relationship so that I could be his healer and his mommy and his therapist. We got into a relationship because we love and respect and honor each other, and we want to grow together. We want to be there to support each other, and we want to love each other unconditionally without the need for changing for each other. So with that in mind, with that being said, I knew that I wanted to spend a week on this topic because I know that there are a lot of other people out there who experience the same thing, wanting to be on the same page, or wanting to always have like good feelings in your romantic relationship or with your primary partner, the person who you're spending the most time with, and feeling like it isn't always that way. We can't always, be having fun all the time, or be in the same mental or emotional place all the time. And when that happens and the people pleasing kicks in of, well, how do I help them? How do I help them feel better about this thing? Or how do I plan and structure and try to pull in all of these things so that we can kind of cushion the blow here? When that kicks in, these cards have the message that needs to come out. At times when the people pleasing kicks in, this is the message that we need to be telling ourselves. This is from the Voyager Tarot, which is an intuitive tarot. It says intuition cards for the 21st century. And it's an intuitive deck that has a lot of collages on it, which I really love. So we are starting out with two very feminine energies. We're starting out with the Empress and the Moon, Auntie Luna. We're starting out with the very beginning I think phase of people pleasing, which is wanting to create a gentleness for others and a willingness within ourselves to be vulnerable enough to put our own happiness on the line so that we can try and cultivate happiness for others. And the problem with that is we are not being true to ourselves, and we are not being the sovereign of our lives. Last week in the topic giving up, the Sovereign card came up, and I feel like, when the Empress or the Emperor comes up, there is still that sovereign energy of, am I being fully responsible for my own feelings, for my own actions, for my own behaviors and beliefs and habits and rituals? Am I allowing myself to, am I going into fixing and solving and helping and creating a pleasurable outcome for somebody else from a place of empowerment and from a place of feeling really good about it and feeling encouraged to do that? Or am I coming from a place of feeling like I don't own myself right now? Somebody else's happiness needs me, and I I'm okay. I'm all right, but I would be better if they felt better. Am I it is the people pleasing, is the fixing and solving and helping coming from a place of is this for me? Is this really for me? I think that's the part that we get really confused about, and that's why the moon card came up, because there's some shadow work to do here. We get a little bit confused about what is for me and what is for them, what pleases me pleases them, and that again stems from childhood trauma of I feel better when they feel better. So if they feel like shit, then they are treating me like shit. And for us to kind of take that and continue on with that energy the rest of our lives of I don't feel good unless other people around me feel good is in need of shadow work, is in need of looking at the not just the truth of what's happening there, of why do I feel like I need other people to feel good so that I can feel good, but it's also in family origins of childhood trauma and family trauma, generational trauma of like where did this people pleasing start, and like who is the one that's typically perpetuating it, what is the role in the family that typically anchors that people pleasing quality? Is it the black sheep? Is it the perfect one? Is it the strong silent one? Who is normally doing the most people pleasing? And like what kind of flavors of people pleasing are coming out in each and all of the roles that are played within a family unit? In addition to that, if you are in partnership with somebody, and especially if you are a woman or identify as femme and are in a relationship with somebody who is a man or anchors that masculine energy, then what the shadow work might also bring out is some places where you need to scrub clean all of the toxic opposite, the toxic masculine, which is not just the nurturing of the feminine, but is the nurturing plus toxic masculine. I will fix you so you're not a problem for me anymore. So I can compartmentalize whatever's going on here and I can get on with my life. Because if you are good, then I am good, and then I can get on with my day. And then nothing is out of place. It's toxic masculine energy that if you really go in and you check those shadows within yourself, you might be able to see places in the relationship where the masculine that's showing up to complement and harmonize with your energy, with the nurturing that you're trying to bring, that may feel natural for you, or again may have been conditioned and may be a childhood trauma response. The reflection of what the other person is bringing to the table will become so much clearer for you, and so much easier for you to see. Ooh, I was gonna show y'all her running because she was sitting there doing this. It's so cute. So there needs to be, again, that sovereignty. And if you need some more of that sovereignty message, go ahead and check out last week's last week's topic on giving up, because there's a lot of beautiful truth there. And there also needs to be shadow work. The people pleaser in us becomes afraid of blocking all of the goodness in our world, all of our manifestations and our fortune. This is the Nine of Worlds, the Harvest card. And we'll start to catastrophize, hello Tower. We'll start to catastrophize whenever whenever the outcome that you desire seems to be in jeopardy because of the way that your partner or somebody else that you are in partnership with is reacting. And the catastrophizing is partly trauma response. I'm probably going to say this a lot throughout this video. Partly trauma response and partly your own digging up of the past experiences that reinforce whatever negative outcome that you think is possible. What you need to practice as a people pleaser in recovery, as somebody who can see that there might be some people pleasing tendencies in partnership, is you might need to go and start digging up start harvesting some of the more positive experiences that you've had, where you didn't fix, you didn't help, you didn't solve, and somebody fucking figured it out on their own. Or you recognized this is a problem, but I'll get to it later, and you never get to it and you never solve it, and the outcome is still good. The outcome still worked out in your favor. Start to harvest some of those memories, some of those experiences, because we need new experiences, or we need the reinforcement of the experiences that we desire when we are trying to replace the conditioned reaction. And if in the future you want your reaction to be, I'm taking it personally and things might go horribly wrong and I don't even know if I want to do this anymore, because, and I'll just like give you my personal example. We're talking about painting the apartment. I'm stoked on it. I know that it's going to take a lot of energy, but I like those kinds of things. I like to do like the physical labor and see like the fruits of my labor around me. And for him, it's the only time that he has to do it is on a day off. Doesn't feel good. It's going to be a whole day thing. Doesn't feel good. Not sure if we're even going to be able to finish it in one day, or exactly how much work is involved. And I think for that reason, he also is just like a little curmudgeonly, a little bit of a moody, sad boy. And I was taking it personally and taking it as like a personal mission to try and find a way to make sure that whenever we painted the apartment and however we painted the apartment and whatever happens around that time could feel better for him. And it's not my job to make him feel good about the things that just are. It kind of just is that we want to get something done together as partners. We want to partner up and team up and do something and accomplish something together. And it's not my job to make him feel good about it or to arrange everything else in my life or our lives so that the experience that we both have is a positive one. For me, I took it as a personal mission to make him feel better. And I know that that's how so many of us apply the people-pleasing tendency is with this worst case scenario. Well, it's gonna be a pain in the ass the whole day to be around somebody who's huffing and puffing, and also to feel guilty, to feel bad that I want to be doing this thing, and that he wants to too, but that I'm like kind of pushing to get done because it really matters to me. And I might feel guilty all day and maybe even try to paint faster, which would create a sloppier job or make me tired faster, and then we don't finish after a whole day's work. Or I'm imagining all of the things that could go wrong. I'm imagining all of the worst case scenarios. And what needs to happen is to recognize that there are positive scenarios here that could happen, in which we blast music that we haven't listened to and we connect over a new playlist or an album that one of us really enjoys, or a genre of music that we're both really into and didn't know until today. We just found out that we both love this thing because now we're blasting it and we're having a fun time together, and we're making something that could be very unfun pretty fun for us in our own way. It could be that we actually get it done a lot faster than we think because it's more than one of us. We're teaming up and we're partnering and we're learning communication throughout it, and maybe that's what we get some new communication skills out of this. Maybe we grow in partnership because of this. Maybe we end up with a fully painted living room, and we just feel so much better because it's not this weird like yellow teeth color. And I don't know that this really gives the camera really gives it justice, but it's just like an off white, like an off white. So maybe there are a lot of other things that could come out of this. And if I think about my past experiences with this person, my past experiences with this partner, and having talked about things that didn't feel good for both of us, but we did it anyway, and thinking about the positive outcomes that still happened, the positive experiences that we still had, thinking about in general other times that there has been partnership in my life. As a people pleaser, coming back to those positive experiences can help to reinforce the mantra of the way that they feel is not my responsibility. Their happiness doesn't need to be a personal mission for me. I don't need to apply myself vigorously to fixing this person. Gosh, how does that sound? We need to be able to step back off of the ledge, off of the edge of the tower, and say, there is a universe of possibility, and I just need to focus my attention on what empowers me and the kinds of rituals and habits that help me protect my energy. So we got the universe card, as you saw, and the 7 of crystals. Crystals is about mental energy, and 7 is, for me, with this particular deck, the number that represents empowerment and protection. So power and protection in a situation where you are people-pleasing looks like empowering yourself to step back or step in and ask, would you like to figure out another way to make this feel better? Would you like to talk about scheduling this for another time or doing this in another way? or sandwiching some other things that we like so that this one thing that you don't like doesn't feel like such a pain in the fucking ass. Empowering both you and your partner to make it a conversation as opposed to your job and your, professional opportunity as people pleaser to suddenly come in and solve this problem. Like, the kind of power that you wield in partnership as a recovering people pleaser can either look like I'm giving my power to them, I'm giving the power of my pleasure and my happiness and my joy and my inner peace to them, or I'm inviting them to come and see how they're affecting me, and I can invite them also to problem solve together if they feel that is also, if they agree that is also a problem. The other thing is, when it comes to the people-pleasing recovery in partnership, it is your responsibility to protect your own energy. So it might come to pass that you invite somebody to see your problem as our problem, and they just don't believe that it is. In which case, that's an opportunity for you to look in and say, am I taking responsibility for protecting my own energy right now? Am I feeling empowered in the solving of this problem, or does this feel like a non-issue because it's not mine? You can also ask yourself, and this is a question for especially people pleasers who are wondering if the partnership that they're in or partnerships that they're a part of have any codependent or narcissistic tendencies, any evidence of gaslighting, any evidence of passive aggression, any evidence of not really feeling supported or well connected. This is an opportunity for you to say, do I want to protect the co-problem solving, the inner parenting in this relationship, if they don't feel that a problem that is ours is also theirs? Do I feel like they need to take more responsibility in this situation? And if I do, and I communicate to them that there is more responsibility to take, and they decide not to take it, is this a time for me to empower myself to witness the partnership at a crossing, at a crossroads? There is so much opportunity for multiple realities to be true, because everybody has a different perspective. Everybody's coming from a different point of view, from a literal different point of view, the way that they look at things, that it might be, I don't see things the way that you do, and maybe you find that there's a pattern of not having seen things, been on the same page and seeing things in an aligned way, in a way that your values and your principles feel like they are connected. You don't have to agree on everything all the time in a partnership, but you do have to have aligned values and principles so that when you show up in this partnership, there is not a disagreement about what true respect looks like. There's not a disagreement about what integrity looks like. You both feel the same about what level of communication needs to be applied, which for a people pleaser often looks like almost no communication. It often looks like I'm just going to go and start taking action behind the scenes and working around you, walking on eggshells the whole time to make sure that I don't bump into you and provoke you or get your attention while I'm trying to keep you asleep. I'm trying to keep you happily asleep to the unpeaceful situation that you've created. I want to keep you asleep to that. So I'm going to go around and circle you and fix it until you feel better and I feel better. And then the space between us can be connective again. That's for a people pleaser in recovery. That's a behavior to look at and to make sure isn't being repeated all the time. And if it is, I think she agrees. And if it is, then you need to learn to start taking on some more of that personal responsibility, some more of that I gave this person the opportunity, I gave this person the chance to be with me in this. If we are partners and I gave them the opportunity to be my partner in this and they chose not to be, and then they continuously choose not to be because they see that as an option, they see that as a valid option, but that doesn't align with my values. It doesn't align with me and my principles to have two people be responsible for something and only one person showing up in the responsibility for this thing and respecting the issues that have arisen from whatever core problem initiated this whole thing. Recovering people pleasers need, in partnership, to step back and look at those patterns and then maybe step out of the partnership, even if only temporarily, to really get a good feeling for and sense for where I am taking a lot of responsibility for their needs and maybe not taking a lot of responsibility for my needs. Because that's what it really comes down to. It's not just like we both need to take responsibility for this thing. It's, have I taken responsibility for myself first? And once that is covered, once you feel empowered and self-protected, then can I approach whatever I think is creating an issue in this relationship, and are they going to step in having taken care of themselves, having pleased themselves with their own method of empowering themselves and protecting their energies. The Man of Worlds card. Worlds is essentially the Pentacles, and it represents, in this reading, relationships. So if you are the one taking steps to accomplish something within a relationship, and the other person just isn't keeping up with you, or the other person has poorly defined values and principles, has poorly defined boundaries, has poorly defined and a loosely defined, almost not defined at all, almost not solid at all, understanding of whose responsibility it is to make sure that there's nurturing and nourishing happening within the relationship, which, in case you didn't know, it's everybody's responsibility. Heteronormativity will have you thinking that it's the woman or the female who is responsible for the nurturing and the nourishing, and that's just not true. the reality is we each have our own inner masculine, inner feminine divinity, sacred showing up, sacred qualities that we need to show up in so that we can not only support ourselves and please ourselves, but also to show up for others in the overflow and be able to kind of ration out, like, this is what I'm able to give. If the place from which you are pleasing or you are solving or you are fixing is always from the lead, where you're always the one who's initiating the conversation, you're always the one who's bringing things up, you are always the one who is operating from a place of, I would like for this to be different, and the other person's like, sure, and doesn't have any input about how to make it better, and then doesn't show up in the making it better, and again, that's on responsibility, then what you need to do is get the hell out of there, or at least temporarily remove yourself from the partnership and let that person know, I'm not feeling good in this, and I need to remove myself from the space wherein we are creating a relationship, we are cultivating a relationship that makes me feel like I am doing a lot of work and makes me feel like I'm doing the heavy lifting here. Because once you've taken responsibility for yourself and you've recognized, I don't need to make them feel good, and I don't need to solve their negative feelings about anything. I don't need to, make sure that they're not angry at me. I don't need to check in with them 100 times so that I'm sure that they're not mad about something that I did or that I said that they didn't like, or that they've told me that they don't like, but that I like and that I wanted to do for myself, because hello, self-empowerment and self-protection of my own energy. I get to cultivate the energy that feels good for me. If you're recognizing that you have shown up in not taking their pleasure personally, or their lack of pleasure personally, and you have taken responsibility for yourself, and then invite them to take responsibility for themselves and the relationship as well, and they're just not showing up and they just don't know how, then they probably haven't learned how to please themselves. And that's not a judgment, that's just a discernment. You can, without judging or feeling higher or better or lower or worse than anyone else, discern the difference between picture A and picture B. Picture A, I got a whole rainbow going on here. I am cultivating this rainbow of my life. Picture B is 1 or 2 colors. This person doesn't have like a whole lot of variety as far as the things that they are not only comfortable doing, but capable of doing. And I need, and this is me speaking as like from the voice of the recovering people pleaser, I need to be only in relationship with people who are learning or have learned how to please themselves. I can only be in relationship with people who are capable of taking responsibility for themselves and their needs, and show willingness to do it through their actions. I can only be in relationship with other people, or especially in partnership with, I can only be a partner to a person who knows what they need and takes care of it themselves. It can only be in partnership with someone who takes responsibility for how they're feeling and verbalizes and then shows up for that responsibility for how they are feeling. We need, as recovering people pleasers, to get out of situations that are reminiscent of those, here it is again, childhood traumas that make us feel like, oh, this again, huh? This is a familiar place for me. While it's uncomfortable and challenging to get out of a familiar place, it is also freeing and the most compassionate thing you can do. Because if you're recognizing that the place where you've been and the place that you're familiar with, the relationship style, the partnership style that you are familiar with is one in which there's a singular person lifting a lot of the emotional weight and the other person is just kind of swinging around dealing damage, then that is an instance in which if you are the one who's doing the emotional lifting and the other person is dealing a lot of damage, you are in a chronic state of suffering. The initial pain of an experience has happened, but then you flinch all the time. You are in constant fight or flight. That's what trauma does to you. Trauma that is not witnessed and then moved through with your body puts you in a constant state of fight or flight. And so you are just flinching all the time at what is possible and what might happen, which means your adrenals are on edge. You are probably getting sick, like physically ill, pretty frequently if you are in partnership with somebody who keeps you on edge and who has you walking around on eggshells. You need to be able to be honest with your partner. You need to know and trust that they are going to take that they have and that they will take responsibility for themselves. You need to be with or allow any partner who isn't this to leave your life. You need a partner who is going to see the stress that you go through in trying to please them and reassures you that it is not your job and that there is nothing else that you have to do to make them feel good or to benefit them in their life, that they've got it, that they'll take care of themselves, and that they'll let you know when they need some support in taking care of themselves. Doesn't that sound so nice and so lovely, so gentle? I would love for you to get the coloring page resource for this particular week, because I can just feel it in my bones that the people pleasing in anyone who is watching right now, whether you're watching on Patreon or on YouTube, you need that extra something. You need that extra somatic experience of doing something physical and sort of meditative that allows you to take your mind off of the intensity of it and allows you to kind of zoom out and look at the big picture, which I think is really what coloring does and why adult coloring pages became so big, especially going through COVID and quarantine, because we started to realize like this is a traumatic thing, and in order for me to be able to detach myself while also feeling my feelings and also expressing myself through color, through line quality and shape and form, through light and dark, on this coloring page, as silly as it may sound, I am expressing myself without feeling the need to be intensely, emotionally expressive. And that gives me permission, and that gives me freedom to, like I said, detach a little bit from the intensity of the feeling and start to acknowledge that maybe it's not just the feeling. Maybe it's an experience that I had. Who taught me to walk on these eggshells? Who taught me that I would be most comfortable walking around on eggshells? Who and where, from where did I learn to put other people's needs before mine, or to get upset when other people get upset? Even though I feel good, I feel at peace. I feel at peace until somebody else feels upset, and then I let that start to affect me. Who, where? From where did that come? Utilizing these coloring pages that are in the Vibrant Coven, there are a ton of them already in there, so I suggest if you're watching this on YouTube, go and check them out. These coloring pages allow you to take that step back, look at the big picture, and relinquish a little bit at a time of those feelings of intensity and that flinching quality of, I don't want to approach this, because if I approach this topic, if I approach the topic of people pleasing in my partnerships, and in this particular partnership, whether it's a romantic partnership or a roommate partnership or a business partnership, if I start to really look at this and I start to pinpoint things up close, then I'm going to freak the fuck out, because I know that there is change that needs to be made, and it might be a really big, scary change. It helps you to zoom out. So it's like, wow, in the grand scheme, maybe some distance is going to be exactly what we need. Maybe I already know somebody who is a better partner for this particular thing, and I've just been I just haven't felt the need to ask them if they want to be a part of this, because the space was being filled. If I open up that space, then wow, somebody who's maybe better at this can come and fill it. It's hard to hear, and I'm always advocating for not just the destroyer quality of letting the changes that you know need to be made move you to release and let go, but I am always an advocate of self-compassion. It's at the core. It's at the core of everything I do is self-compassion, and that stems from a respect for the suffering that you're experiencing and the desire to do something about it. Often, when we are in need of experiencing something different, it's already way past the time that the thing that is no longer ripe for us anymore has decayed and rotted. So I hope that you look at these things, you look at these tendencies of people pleasing in all of your relationships, and especially in partnership with just one other person who means a lot to you, because it could be the difference between living a life that feels like it's yours and like you are giving the most attention to yourself and to your dreams and your needs and your emotions and having your needs met. Could be the difference between that and living your life for other people, living your life for one other person. then they're living their life for themselves and they have you to live your life for them too. That doesn't seem right. Thank you for joining me. I hope that if you got anything from this, that you go and post it in the comments below and just let me know which piece of guidance from this video really resonated with you and impacted you the most. And maybe if you were inspired to take any sort of action, just let us know what that action is. We're going to be following up on Friday, setting intentions for how we would like to grow and expand within people-pleasing and partnerships. And like I said, if you are not on Patreon, then what you're seeing now, this video, is last week's video. Today, Wednesday, if you are watching this on YouTube, I am already posting a new video, a new guidance from the universe for a completely new topic this week in the Vibrant Coven. So if you want to really get ahead of all of the shadow work that you've been trying to cultivate in your life, if you want to develop consistency in ritualizing practices wherein you are cultivating self-awareness and self-compassion, if you want to join a community and be a part of discussions and get away from social media a little bit and more into the kind of social dynamic and social atmosphere that actually helps to create and sustain change, long-term, healthy change and growth, then head to patreon.com/vibrantcoven. It's also linked in the caption below. And come and join us. Be a part of this thing because it is so much bigger than any one of us, and we can do better through all of these hard things, all these difficult changes that we need to make so that we can live the lives that we know that we desire and deserve so much more easily when we do it together. Thank you for joining me. I love you so much. Again, you are deserving of all the love you desire. You're deserving of the respect that you desire. You are deserving of the partnership or partnerships that you desire. And I hope you have a beautiful, wonderful rest of your day. Mwah! Say bye.
Say bye, sweetness.
Bye.